I want to give you the colors of the rainbow in imponderable doses. I want to match it with whatever shade is inside of you. I want to dazzle your pain so it may leap out and begin to dance. I write to touch the world and allow myself to be touched. And I want to try and remember more and more who I am. I think that writing became my way of dancing and moving through the world too, because I was watching all of these people going up trees and playing tag with each other, and I was thinking to myself, gee, I have to find some way of doing that. And it became language and the written word and communication.
What began as spontaneous musings on Mother Nature evolved into written verses as soon as Ekiwah learned to type. By 12, he'd published his first book in Mexico. A second followed 2 years later. He appeared at public recitals alongside some of Mexico's most famous authors.
Los poetas tienen una añoranza enorme por escribir, ¿no?
His story is extraordinary. He has wonderfully expressed the wish to have his work separate from his story, which I think is very grown up and the right thing, and will happen to him. I think we will hear of him for many, many years.
Ginger beer. She hands me some ginger beer. It tastes like apples and dragon fire. We drink it by the veranda, watching the seagulls rinse their feet with foam. She grins a deep crocodile grin. This is a poem that I wrote, inspired partly in the Divine Comedy, wanting to know what my own heaven and my own hell would be like. In hell there was no topography. Silence was more dense than matter. The sea was nowhere. If it was there, it was voiceless. Mermaids were whales beached on a shore of dislocation. The muses were not amused. They were deaf. My muse was an earless woman. In hell, no invocation could fly into her mouth. A bird was a ridiculous object. Ridiculous is a place where there is no space for the sky. How did I find my way out of hell? I don't know. Perhaps I found out after the many times I had been there. Hell is a boring place. And so I began my revision. One thing that I realized through poetry is that poetry is a body. Poetry moves. Poetry has sound. Every time you come to a line break, that is a different music in the body. So I discovered in poetry a body that would be limitless, is limitless. And as far as my work with people with disabilities, they can become sort of a little bit invisible and be on the sidelines, and they have such tremendous things to say, so I like to use poetry as a vehicle to say to, so that they can say to people, this is who I am.
A mí me gusta mucho la poesía y pues esta clase me ha servido para enamorarme aún más de la poesía. Are the women who fall for me paralyzed by you? They are often jealous of how I'm always lap dancing on you. We're almost sewn at the hip. Oh, my dark dawn. Oh, my loyal taskmaster. Oh, my electric, steel-tempered mistress. So since I get to do whatever I want, how about a little striptease? Nudist poem. I write to undress myself, to lift the veils that separate me from this world. Naked, my scars are not just omens of death. They are a calligraphy that signifies I live. Inside my cells, bees alchemize the black nectars of their pain into honey.
How you all doing? Maybe like a word to sort of give me a little sense of the temperature of the room. Do we want to go colder, hotter? I'm just going to take a minute to look at you all so I could sort of check in.
He's doing it. I mean, the way he engages his audience, the way he starts out and says, this is a conversation. It was a conversation that started before I even got here, you know, that kind of thing. The way he pauses and connects and reconnects with the audience and invites and re-invites the audience to connect with him. Okay, that's what facilitators do, you know, the good ones, and to make room for others to find their own voice. So he takes all that with him on the road, and, you know, Godspeed.
Yet if you wish to find out about this freedom, if you attempt to track me, do not speak to me. Speak to what makes me hungry. Follow the traces of what I love.
I think that Ekiwah is like a explosion that needs to happen. It's impossible for him to keep it for himself. It's just for others, no? This is the magic there, and he knows.
The irreversible word. In endless seas of words I struggle. Barnacles of distraction cling idle to my boat. Me alone with my images, like fish riding on the water or coral reefs deep below the surface. I keep on pulling on the oars, but why do I struggle if I know I will never reach the shore? My poem's still incomplete. I am a bird, knowing I will never reach the sun's round perfection. Beyond, beyond, sailing to the horizon, no boundaries on the scene or in the sunlit sky. My journey is always beginning, and that in itself keeps me content. But if indeed one day I reach the shore, or fly like a phoenix to meet the source of light, or make my poem complete and weave my words into a cloak of patterns and go back to the irreversible word from which all words came forth, then I'd be silent, not daring to utter a word for fear of staining the delicate silk of its totality. In the meantime, here I come, and there are plenty of songs to keep me going. And now I can say, and now more and more I can say, and our songs keep us going. Thank you. Thank you.